Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're going to get into a single, really powerful story about transformation.
Yeah, it's about a young man named Arjun.
Exactly. And our mission here isn't just to, hear a motivational story. We want to sort of reverse engineer it,
Find the mechanism.
find the mechanism that turns these tiny, consistent actions into just massive results. How do we switch from always looking for shortcuts to, well, actually building discipline?
I think that's the core conflict, isn't it?
Yeah.
The story really isolates this thing that everyone faces. We all want these huge results, and we want them now.
Right. Immediately.
And the trap, which this story shows so well, is that we expect progress to be linear.
Mm-hmm.
You put in 10% effort, you expect to see 10% growth.
But it never works that way.
It never does. And when you only see 1%, you feel cheated, you think this isn't working, and you give up way too soon.
And that is a perfect description of our main character, Arjun. He's this bright kid in a village full of dreams, but he's fundamentally impatient. He wants to be the best at everything, reading, exercise, you name it. And he starts with this incredible enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, that initial burst.
But if he doesn't feel completely different after, 3 days, the whole project is just abandoned. He's hooked on that immediate reward.
It's what you might call motivational burnout. He does this over and over until he's just so frustrated. And that's when he goes to see the village wise man, an old monk.
And this is the moment, this is the hook for anyone listening.
It is. He shows up totally defeated, and he asks this universal question. He says, "Master, I work so hard, but my life is not changing. I feel stuck. Why?"
And I mean, who hasn't asked that question? About the gym or project or learning something new, you just feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Exactly.
So let's unpack what happens next, because the wise man's response is so surprising. Arjun is probably expecting some, deep philosophical secret.
Or a massive challenge, right? Something that requires this huge effort.
But the monk gives him something totally different. He could see Arjun didn't need more complexity. He actually needed less.
He needed constraints. He had to understand how consistency works at the most basic, almost boring level.
So instead of some big lecture on willpower, he just hands Arjun a small, empty clay pot.
And a handful of seeds.
And the instruction he gives is it's almost insultingly simple, isn't it?
It is. He just says, plant one seed every day in this pot, water it daily, and come back in a month.
That's it. No goal, no big prize, just repeat this tiny action.
And you can see how this immediately clashes with Arjun's whole personality. He's confused, but he agrees.
Day 1 and 2, no problem. That's the novelty factor.
Of course. Starting something new always feels good, but then comes day 3.
Day 3. The point where most new habits go to die.
That motivational spike just crashes. The science backs this up, Our brain loves the reward of starting. Buying the new equipment, downloading the app.
That's the dopamine hit right there.
Exactly. But the actual routine, the daily boredom of just watering an empty pot of soil, there's zero dopamine in that.
You can hear his thoughts. This is pointless. Nothing is happening. I'm wasting my time.
That voice, "I am wasting my time," that's the enemy of consistency. It's the moment where the effort of doing the thing feels bigger than the reward you're getting.
Which is zero.
Which is zero, visibly. And statistically, we know most people quit right around that 72-hour mark.
So the real question is, how did he push past it? Why did he keep going?
Well, it wasn't because he loved it. He was only doing it because he made a promise to the wise man. That was it.
So it's not about willpower anymore.
No, it's about discipline. Willpower runs out, but discipline is just sticking to the system no matter how you feel. So he forced it. Day 4, day 5, all the way to day 14. 2 weeks of work with absolutely nothing to show for it.
And that leads us to the critical turning point. The moment everything changes for him.
The payoff.
On the 15th day, after 2 full weeks of this boring, unrewarded effort, he goes to water the pot and he sees it.
Just a tiny little sprout.
A tiny green sprout poking out of the soil. It's almost nothing, but it's something. It's real.
And that moment is such a perfect picture of what some writers call the plateau of latent potential.
I love that term.
For 2 weeks, all the work was happening underground, right? The roots were growing, energy was building, but it was all invisible. He was on the plateau.
And then suddenly there's a breakthrough.
That little sprout. It wasn't the result of day 15's watering. It was the result of the cumulative effort of all 15 days.
And you have to think about what that does to him psychologically. It must have just flipped a switch.
A huge one. Before the sprout, he was running on an external promise.
To the monk.
To the monk. After the sprout, he's running on internal proof. He now has evidence that the system works, even if the result is tiny.
It's the difference between pushing a car and then suddenly the engine starts and it starts pulling you.
Perfect analogy. And you see his behavior change immediately.
Yeah.
By the third week, the sprout is a small plant, and he starts, adapting his life to it.
Right. He's not just doing the task. He's becoming a caretaker.
Exactly. He's waking up early just to water it. He's protecting it from the wind, making sure it gets enough sun.
The action is becoming part of his identity, and he starts to realize that he's changing too.
Mm.
He's not just growing a plant, he's growing patience. He's growing discipline.
He's learning to trust a process even when he can't see the immediate results.
Which is, that's the whole game right there. That's the foundation for any kind of major achievement.
So after the month is up, the plant is strong, it's healthy, and Arjun takes it back to the wise man. He's so proud of this thing he's grown.
Of course, it's tangible proof of his work.
But the wise man does something really clever. He doesn't even really look at the plant. He looks at Arjun.
And he asks that profound question.
What about you, Arjun? Did you grow too?
It's so good. It just brings the whole lesson home. The monk confirms it. Growth takes time. The reason you always failed before is you stopped right when the roots were forming.
He stopped before the sprout. He always stopped before the sprout. The secret was just not stopping, continuing to water the soil even when it looked dead.
And that realization just completely rewires Arjun's brain. He stops looking for the hack, the shortcut.
Yeah, all that's gone.
He switches his focus from these huge, scary goals to small, daily systems. And the source actually gives us the specifics, which I think is the most useful part.
It's the most actionable part for sure.
Yeah.
This is where it goes from a nice story to an actual method.
He basically creates his own consistency test for other parts of his life. He commits to 3 things. The first one is he reads just 10 pages of a book every day.
Just 10. Not read a book a week. Not some massive goal. Just an achievable input.
10 pages. Then he exercises for 15 minutes a day.
Again, not get a six-pack or run a marathon. Just show up for 15 minutes. A minimum effective dose.
And finally, he practiced his writing, or some other skill, for 30 minutes. Every single day. No exceptions.
And this is the critical part for anyone listening. He wasn't checking his progress every day. He wasn't weighing himself or quizzing his knowledge.
He wasn't looking at the plant.
He was just watering the soil. He focused only on the input, 10 pages, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. By doing that, he basically eliminated the anxiety and just focused on showing up.
He changed his identity from someone who's trying to get stronger to I am someone who exercises daily.
Yes.
And because the actions were so small, they became automatic. They stacked up. And that compound effect, 10 pages a day is over 3,600 pages a year. That's like 15 books.
And suddenly, months later, Arjun is a different person.
The change is undeniable. And the story says people in the village noticed. Not because of one big, heroic act.
No, it was because of this quiet, sustained excellence. The kid who was known for quitting everything became the most disciplined, most successful young man in the village.
It wasn't about talent. It was just 10 pages, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, day after day.
And then the story comes full circle. Arjun becomes the wise one himself. A younger boy comes to him and asks for his secret.
And he doesn't talk about his achievements.
No. He passes on the lesson of the seed. He just says, take small steps every day. Be patient. Be consistent.
Even the tallest tree starts as a tiny seed.
Such a simple, powerful message.
So if we boil this all down, what does it mean for us? The warning from the story seems pretty clear. Most of us don't fail because we lack talent.
Not at all.
We fail because we stop too soon. We give up somewhere on that plateau between day 3 and day 14 because we're convinced nothing is happening.
And we have to admit, being consistent is, well, it's boring at first. It feels counterintuitive in a world that's all about speed and quick wins.
There's no immediate reward.
None. But this story asserts that this boring daily repetition is the only real path to a fundamental transformation. It's the engine of real growth.
That's it. The journey from chasing huge goals to just designing these tiny, inescapable daily systems, the 10 pages, the 15 minutes, that's the real shortcut.
It's the shortcut through the plateau, not around it.
Which brings us to a final thought for you to take away from this.
Arjun's entire transformation started because he committed to that tiny seed long before he had any proof it would work.
He just trusted the process.
He did. So if you were to commit to a single seed today, one daily action that feels almost too small to matter, something you could do even on your worst day, what would it be?
And maybe more importantly, Are you willing to do it patiently day after day and wait until maybe day 15 before you even see the first tiny little sprout of progress?
We'd encourage you to identify your own consistency test, find your seed, and just start watering.